Welcome to Latin at Home. I am Kathleen, your host. In this series, we will be using verses from the Mass readings to practice Latin. Let's get started. Happy Feast of Corpus Christi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here at Latin at Home. We're going to take a few moments and go through some verses from today's readings. But before we get started with that, I actually want to take a look at the phrase Corpus Christi and go through that. So corpus is a pretty obvious one. You can kind of see the word corpse in there. It means body. And then Christi, so this is actually in a different case. So we know the name Jesus Christus, Jesus Christ, but this has an I on the end. This is actually a genitive ending. If you don't know what that means, I recommend that you go back and watch the noun introduction video that I did. I have it linked below. And the genitive is often translated with the word of. So it's not Christus, just Christ or the Christ. It's Christi, of Christ. So Corpus Christi is the body of Christ. And please note that we added the word the in there because the doesn't exist in Latin. There are no articles in Latin. So we have to insert that when we're translating into English. Okay, so that was just a little intro. Now let's actually get into some of the verses from the readings. So the epistle is 1 Corinthians 11, verses 23 through 29. And I have just chosen to go through verse 26. So I'm just going to read this to you first. If I mispronounce anything, please let me know below in the comments. I have been teaching Latin for over 15 years, but I teach classical Latin. So I'm actually not very accustomed to using ecclesiastical pronunciation when I'm reading. So if you hear anything, please let me know in the comments below. Quoties cumque enim manducabitis panem hunc, et calicem bibetis, mortem Domini annunciabitis donec veniat. We're going to break this down because this is kind of a long one. So starting out with quoties cumque enim manducabitis panem hunc. I want to start with the word enim because that is actually a conjunction and it means for. So again, this is for as a conjunction sense. It's more like I'm going to wear short sleeves for it is very hot outside. So we're just going to take care of that conjunction first. So for, and then we're going to tackle this big word at the beginning, quoties cumque. And that's actually multiple words, quoties cum and que, and it's all put together. And when it mushes all together like that, it means each time or as often as. So now we're going to get into kind of the important part of the sentence, our subject and verb. Manducabitis is our verb. So you can see this tis ending on it. If you need to go back and watch the verb introduction video, that is also linked below. So tis shows us that the subject is you plural, you all, y'all. Where I grew up, people said yous. I have some cousins who say yins. It doesn't matter. You plural, you all. And you can kind of see the English word manducate in here, which is to chew or to eat. And that is actually what this means. So you will eat. This is a future tense. So for as often as or for each time you will eat. And then panem hunc go together. This is a noun adjective pair. So panem is bread in the accusative because it's the direct object. And then hunc just means this. So for as often as you will eat this bread. Et, we are probably going to see et in every single video. Et, I think, appears in just almost every sentence or every other sentence. It means and. Very, very common. And again, we're going to go to our verb here, bibetis, tis. It's showing us that the you plural is the subject, but we've already said it, so we don't have to repeat it. And so this is drink. So you plural will drink. And then calicem is a cup or a chalice. Again, it's in the accusative because it is the direct object. And remember, we also have to insert either an article in front of this. You will drink. We don't say you drink cup. You would say drink a cup, the cup. And actually, since this was used for bread, I'm going to throw in this here. It's not included in the Latin, but Latin is a really efficient language, and they don't, if they can cut out words, they will. So in English, sometimes we just have to insert some things. So I'm going to throw in a this there. So notice this word order is extremely different from English. Let's put this all together. For as often as you will eat this bread and will drink this cup. And I'm going to kind of just put all this up at the top of the next page so that we're reminded of it as we go forward. Mortem Domini annunciabitis. going to our subject and verb again. So tis, we're still talking about y'all. And then we'll declare. You can kind of see the word announce in here. This word is translated so many ways. You can say proclaim, announce, whatever. I just picked declare as it's one of the options. That's what I picked. And then now we got these two other nouns. Usually in English sentence structure, you start with subject, verb, and then you often have a direct object after that. So since I got two nouns, I'm going to look for the one that's the direct object. So here's my em ending that shows that I'm in the accusative. So that's why I'm going to go to that one next. And this means death, but again, we have to insert an article. So the death. And then before we even get into the ending of Domini, I actually want to talk about the fact that there's a capital D on here. So the word by itself, just Dominus, is master or lord, but with a lowercase, it's any master, the master of the house, the lord of the manor. But when it has that capital D, it is very specifically the Lord. And we do the same thing in English, where we have a lowercase L for Lord and an uppercase L, and that's what that means. All right, so now let's look at the ending. So we have this I ending. So this is telling us we are in the genitive. And if you remember, genitive translates with of. So it's not just Lord, but of the Lord in the genitive. So you will declare the death of the Lord. Donec veniat. Donec simply means until. And veniat comes from the verb come. So this ends in a T. And so we know the subject is he, and we're actually referring to the Lord. So I'm actually going to capitalize the H in the word he. And he comes. So again, looking at this crazy word order, I'm going to rephrase this. So you will declare the death of the Lord until he comes. So great job. You just translated with me a verse from the Vulgate. So there's the Vulgate Latin there, our translation. And of course, our translation is nothing official. So I'm also going to put the Dewey Rames on here so that we can see what the official approved translation is of this. And let's see the differences. For as often as you, okay, will versus shall, eat this bread. And I included will for drink. You, of course, can drop that and drink. And I said this cup. And like I said, I chose to include this because it was this bread and this cup. Just as the chalice, you shall show the death of the Lord until he come. Okay, so this is from the epistle. And now let's take a look at a verse from the gospel. So the gospel on Corpus Christi is John chapter 6, verses 56 to 59. We are just going to take a look at 56, and it's actually really short and it repeats. So this is not going to be nearly as complex as what we just did. So, caro mea vere est cibus, et sanguis meos vere est potus. Caro mea vere est cibus. You know what's great about this? We can almost translate this straight across. You just saw Latin word order on that other side. That almost never happens. So let's just have fun with this one because we can go almost straight across. Caro mea is our subject. So mea is my, and caro is meat or flesh. Vere is truly or indeed. It could even be translated as actually. It has a lot of translations. Est, there's that important verb that we talked about in the verb video. We want to make sure we know this verb, esse, to be. Est is simply is. And then cibus is food. So my flesh truly is food. You can actually translate that right across. I kind of think it sounds a little better to put vere after the est in English. Et sanguis meos vere est potus. Et, there it is again, and sanguis meos, so my blood, vere est potus, so again, just truly or indeed, est is, potus, you can think of the English word potable. If something's potable, you're able to drink it. So that is drink. So that was easy, huh? That was a good one. So my flesh is truly food and my blood is truly drink. And again, this is nothing official. So let's take a look at the official translation. For my flesh is meat indeed, and my blood is drink indeed. And then here was just a picture that I found online of a procession for Corpus Christi. And what I loved so much about this was that it didn't look like ideal conditions. You know, they're on the sidewalk, it's kind of cramped. And it doesn't even look like the sun shining. It looks kind of like a cloudy day. And but it was still, they were doing it, and there's so much beauty in these processions, even if you don't have, you know, streets all blocked off where you're having this huge procession. So I just really loved this. So anyway, if you have any questions on anything we covered today, please let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please also subscribe so that I continue to make more of these videos. And in the comments below, let me know what other types of videos you'd like to see. So thanks again so much for joining me. I hope to see you in the next video, and happy feast of Corpus Christi.